Good morning. Welcome to the B.F. Anderson Technical Report for June the 2nd. This is another Jesse Livermore rule. It says the leaders of today may not be the leaders of 2 years from now. The reality here is that the market makes changes. There are going to be changes in the market where stocks of the past will not necessarily be the ones that will lead the future. To kind of give you an example of this is a stock certificate. My grandfather was a railroad man. He was an executive with the Colorado Southern Pacific Railroad. He loved the railroad. It was his whole life. And anyway, the point being is that, he invested in the passenger rail industry, which absolutely became obsolete. So the problem here is that we get, I hear this a lot from people with the real buy and hold and pray philosophy, which is that the company will always come back. Well, with New York Central, which Grandpa talked about, paid a good dividend and so forth, they didn't come back. The passenger rail industry went away. Anyway, let's catch up on what's going on right now. We're starting to see a little bit of an upturn here in the market. Hopefully this is a bottoming process that we're starting to witness here. This is the 10-day moving average. We're back above it for really the first time. Now on the more let's see, let me get this straight here. As we get into the indexes looking at different timelines, this is the monthly 10-month moving average. We continue to stay below that. This is the weekly reading, which is below the 35-week moving average. We're still below that as well. No buy signals there. Now on the S&P, again, we're starting to see on a daily basis that 10-day moving average getting above it, actually turning up. This is somewhat of a positive. We are seeing some improvement here. Again, on the monthly graph, we're below the 10-month moving average. On the weekly graph, we're below the 35-week moving average. The rule there on the 35-week is we need to get back above it for at least 2 weeks. Now, on the aggression index, we are seeing some improvement there. It's been, a waterfall decline in this ratio of NASDAQ compared to consumer staples. However, the consumer staples have started to cool off a little bit. Technology's kind of firming up a little bit. So we're seeing an upturn really for the first time in a while in this ratio. Now, the rule would be we want to get back above that lower moving average, which is the 10-week. On our three economic indicators, you can see interest rates kind of trying to creep back up to that 3% level again. Oil prices continue to somewhat move sideways, however, in an uptrend. Now, the financial stocks have been in a downtrend. It looks like we're getting somewhat of a bounce here. Now, the only other good news here is the number of new lows on the New York Stock Exchange have finally contracted under 40. This will be the first time that we've gotten this few number of new lows in quite a while. So this somewhat indicates that the selling may be starting to dry up. Let's hope that's the case. Now, on trend strength, we are seeing improvement there. We've got a positive reading for the first time in a while. We're at 13%. However, we do want to get back into a pattern that looks something like this. It's going to take some time to get there, but we are seeing some improvement here, as well as on the S&P. We're now above that lower moving average, which is the 25-day moving average, and that gives us a trend strength of a positive 13%, which is substantially better than where we've been. On the bull-bear ratio, we're continuing to see a lot of complacency here, a lot of pessimism. We've gotten readings down here that are somewhat historic. I mean, we've only seen these types of readings since 1990, only really 2 other times. So, we're getting, a lot of pessimism, which means a lot of cash on the sidelines. Hopefully this market's going to turn. Now, I wanted to go ahead and point out the percent of stocks above their 200-day moving average on the NASDAQ. We plummeted below that key area of 25%. However, we have turned up a little bit on this, starting to see some improvement. Here's the New York Stock Exchange percent, which is the percent of stocks above their 200-day moving average on the New York Stock Exchange. Never broke down below 20, which was kind of a critical area for being oversold, for the market to be oversold. However, we held in that general area and have bounced back up again. Now, on the volatility index, we are seeing improvement there as well. We're back below 30. We're at 25.69. Now, realize this is a 5-day moving average that I've got here. Rate of change is, basically flat. So we're starting to see the market somewhat starting to settle down. Now, as we get into the top five, again, I want to emphasize the top five is nothing more than momentum stocks that we see in our database that have high momentum. Well, this is a company that's in the coal business, Alpha Metallurgical. Anything to do with energy right now is pretty red hot. However, I will emphasize the fact that when you're dealing with commodities, you're dealing with cyclicals. It's really not a growth stock. This is Antero Resources, which is mainly a big natural gas producer operating out of the Permian Basin. You can see here fairly strong uptrend, made an all-time new high here recently. We also have EQT, which is another natural gas producer. In fact, the largest natural gas producer in the United States. Again, you can see the same exact pattern above that 10-day, very strong. Lots of momentum here in the energy sector. Next tier, oil field services, oil equipment and services. Now, what's interesting here about these oil stocks, the producers, meaning the exploration companies, have pretty much announced that they are going to really shut down any new drilling, and basically they're going to produce their existing reserves. So it would be kind of difficult for the services industry to pick up if there's no additional new drilling. But I have a feeling that that's going to change. Here's Occidental Petroleum. This is probably one of the strongest energy stocks in the market at this time. Anyway, been very, very, very strong. So if you have any questions, please let me know, and have a good week. Thank you.